All right, everybody, welcome back to the Kleen-Rite Radio podcast. I am Fix It with Phil, and as always, I am here with my good buddy, Mark Tyndale. Mark, how we doing today?
Phil, I'm doing great today, and I'm super excited we're going to talk about some really simple but great stuff today.
Yeah, some key items that really don't take a lot of investment other than a little bit of time, right? But things that you can do on a regular basis to keep your customers happy, feeling good about your site. It'll make you feel good about your site. They'll respect your site more, and it'll only drive revenue up, right?
I call this the daily investment, the stuff you think about every day that is easy, low-hanging fruit, daily investment.
So the daily investments to the clean site standard, how to build consistency and drive customer respect, right? The focus is to stay on track with keeping your site at a respectable level, right? Trash off of the ground, bays cleaned, wands in good shape, all those types of things we take for granted because we're moving through so quickly on a daily basis. Oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to do that. If you create a routine and you follow that routine, you can give that consistency to your customers.
Yeah, sometimes we're focused on the big projects. You know, I'm getting ready to do that in-bay automatic or the new self-serve equipment, and you're sometimes you're stepping over the little things that you should be, like I said, investing in daily to keep up with. And it's kind of a simple recipe, but a lot of people don't follow it.
Yeah. So, you know, we can get caught in the vicious cycle of, you know, why a customer treats your site like trash when your site looks like trash.
Yeah, you got a good point there, Phil.
And that's like a direct reflection of,
well, I've heard, I'll save you on this one. So I've heard people say, you know, I get a lot of vandalism and people leave this and they leave that. Sometimes it truly is a reflection of your site. There are exceptions to every rule, right? I'm not saying everybody falls under the same category, but when I look at a lot of people's car washes with the pictures that they send in, I'm like, yeah, maybe you do have some customers that are a little less respectful, but it doesn't look like you're respecting your site.
Yeah, there's there's bad eggs everywhere, but you know, like at our sites, we run a lot sweeper every day.
Oh, that's cool.
And we run a lot sweeper every day to keep all those small items that fall out of people's cars when they're vacuuming or they're getting trash out to put it into the trash cans or something like that. Right? Instead of getting frustrated about those few items that fall out when they're walking to the trash can or whatever, if you just pick it up with a smile, or you run your lot sweeper over the site and get all that stuff up, if you keep your blacktop clean, everybody else is going to instinctively try to keep your blacktop clean as well.
Yeah, it's amazing if you have an attendant, and most of us have cleanup attendants. Some of us smaller mom and pops, they do it themselves.
Yeah.
But it's amazing if you just use that lot sweeper, that little brush with that thing while people are vacuuming, the difference you get from the way that people will treat your site.
It changes their mindset because you're letting them know that you care and that you don't want those things on the ground. So that makes them instinctively not want to upset you or upset the status quo of trying to keep a clean site. It makes them want to keep a clean site as well.
You know, the right way to handle a situation is if somebody's cleaning out a car and there's a couple cigarette butts and candy wrappers or gum wrappers there, the best effect you can have is politely saying hi to them and cleaning it up right in front of them.
Yeah.
Instead of yelling at them.
Yeah. Trying to get in an argument over spilt milk is not worth a disgruntled customer.
Correct. Because they are all customers.
Yeah. Everybody's putting money in the meter. So if you have to pick up a few things every once in a while with a smile, you're effectively like through what's the mind power?
Osmosis.
Through osmosis, you're letting them know that you don't want them to do that.
And look, I'll admit I am the worst. I'll admit it. I am the worst Home Depot shopper you've ever met. I'll pick something up changed my mind and put it back into the wrong spot.
Mm-hmm.
And the best guys at Home Depot are like, sir, I'll help you get that back to the right spot.
Yeah.
They don't say, hey, you took that from aisle 7 and you left it in aisle 11. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, they're chasing you down the aisle with your cart. Hey, man, you're putting it back in the wrong spot. Yeah, and if there's vac hoses laying on the ground, just wind them up. And you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a whole thing.
I'm surprised how many of my customers, good, bad, indifferent, I watch them and they look at the other 8 vac hoses that are rolled up real nice, and they'll look and I'll watch them wind them up and put them back on the vacuum. And, it's kind of, like you said, lead by example.
Yep.
So let's dig into this. Let's start with vac hoses. So some of the little things I had this great experience. It's so minor, but it was great. So we had a guest host and a visitor come see us, talk about customer experience. I think we both learned a little bit about it. And he had mentioned about clientele that prefer, because the express model has learned that people like 1.5-inch vac hoses. Well, I didn't want to switch all my hoses to 1.5-inch, but I ended up buying tapered vac hoses, so I didn't have to change anything. And wow, something so simple. We've gotten so many comments, and it's kind of funny because we're trying to do some other projects and we're like, hey, look at this project, look at that project, look what we've done here. And we've gotten so many great comments on, was it 80 new vacuum hoses I have that are all tapered, they're all clean, they're all the same color, and they are so much easier to use. And people have been commenting on it far more than I would. To me, I was like, it's just a vac hose.
Yeah.
But wow, what a difference that made.
But those are those things that we take for granted, right? Like we're used to 2-inch vac hose. It doesn't get clogged as much, all those types of things. And it's easier for us, or that's what I'm used to. This is what I always order. But when you look in the catalog and you see that tapered hose is available and it's easier to use for somebody, right? It's that small thing.
And they're easier to hang up and they stay hung up.
Yeah.
Easier. They fit in the cradle better. Yeah. We're all like, we've been doing this so long and we never thought of this. And it was just a simple comment in passing and we made the change. And it was one of the better, smaller changes we've made in 20 some years.
But you get, you're saying that you're getting phone calls. People are thankful that you changed that experience for them. You've made it easier. You've made it nicer. Right. And people are taking time out of their day to call you or leave
a comment or just talk to. And some of the folks have said, wow, we love your new vacuums. And we didn't. We just got new vacuum hoses.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some decals and stuff.
But you can change again. You've just by changing vac hoses and changing decals, somebody, there's people that are like, oh, this is all brand new stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that is a huge topic of, let's move into the bay, right? In the bay, every quarter we change out hoses, swivels, guns, wands, tips, foamy brush handles, brush heads, all of what I like to call the bay gear. That's a quarterly change out, no questions asked, right?
And that does 2 things. 1, it looks refreshed.
Yep.
And 2, you're not getting that Saturday call that a hose broke. 3, you're not getting that Saturday call that a foam brush head fell off, because you're predictively maintaining and it's looking good and it has a function to it.
Yeah, exactly. And anything, there's somebody here that always says anything the customer touches should look and feel new.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me since I've heard that, because it really does make a difference. When somebody picks up a foam brush and it has that classic U, right? I don't want to put that on my car. I personally don't want to put that on my car.
I don't want to put that on your car.
Right. So why would you want somebody to pull into the bay, pay you money that they had to work for, to use a brush that they wouldn't want to wash the floor with.
Yeah, and look, people bend wand lance tubes, right?
Yep.
They bend them. It's just
Yep.
it's going to happen. And rather than complaining about why or if somebody bent your wand tube, just keep a bunch of wand tubes on hand.
Yeah.
Make it fresh.
So, some of the things to work around that, kind of the way that we do it, is when we change all that bay gear out, we can pick one of my sites. We have 8 bay self-serve, right? When we change all those bays out, we go through and we pick 2 bays worth of gear out of the used gear out. So foamy brush handles that aren't completely destroyed, right? They still look okay. And we put them in the back as like an emergency handle in case.
And throw everything else out.
Everything else gets thrown out, and we keep them as that in case of emergency. If we don't have any new ones, at least you can put this on until we can get a new one. Right.
You're right. And so many times we see operators, when I used to be in the field a lot more, they're like, do you have one of these hoses? Yeah, I have one. You're putting a hose on that was worse than the one that you're taking off. You're probably missing the boat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some of the other things you can look at is signage.
Yeah.
Right. I would ask everybody that's listening to this to go to your wash and look at your signs and think about when you put them up and how many years ago that was.
Right?
Yeah,
when the fasteners are all rusted, or the fasteners are out, or the corners are cracked,
or the print is faded, or there's scratches or stickers on them. One of my favorite things that I picked up from your site, from your sites, that I'm looking forward to doing is the snap frames.
Yeah, snap frames.
Right. It is so ingenious that you can literally change a sign out in a few minutes and just absolutely change the way the bay looks just by doing that.
Yeah, and you can buy them in bulk, and they're super inexpensive. And if you want to change an option on your menu, or you want to change a message or a phone number or whatever, you just, for 30, 40, $50, you have all new signs per bay.
Yeah.
It's better than spending $250 per bay once every 10 years,
right,
in my opinion. But
well, and it really does. I mean, that drives your customer's outlook on coming to your site, right? We're not saying that these things don't cost any money. We are aware that it costs money to do these things, but you have to look at it as an investment, right? You can't buy things and think that they're going to last you a lifetime. It just does not work that way. Everything has a life cycle, and we need to be predictive on that life cycle based on usage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest misconception. I've been selling equipment the better part of my life, and people that buy something and think it's going to last for 10 or 15 years, people need to tell them this is not a 10 or 15 year thing. This is a consumable.
It is.
Signage is consumable, right?
Yeah, signage, guns, hoses, all that kind of stuff. And being prepared is probably one of the easiest but hardest things to do, because again, just like keeping the lot clean and staying focused on, as silly as it sounds, we spray stainless steel polish on our trash can lids.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right? And when we first started doing that, the guys on the lot were like, "What? Why are we washing down trash can lids?" Because it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right? But being prepared, again, is easy but hard to do because we overlook the small things. So, making sure that you have new guns, or at least a gun to replace one if they break. So like if you're doing that quarterly change out, ordering another set, I still save an old set just so that I know that I have it in case I need it. Those types of things, and just being ready to take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Let's talk about trash cans for a second, right? So raise your hand in the audience. Everybody's raising their hand. If you're waiting to use up an old 30-gallon drum to make another trash can.
Yeah.
And I just think that is the blight on our industry, to think that in 2025, almost 26, that we don't need professional trash receptacles to make it look like a professional business. And I still have some chemical drums in some places, but we have tried to get real trash receptacles that look like a real business out there, and it makes a huge difference. Bollard covers. So you were at my site a couple months ago, and I'm not at all the sites every day, and you were leaning on one of my bollards, and I looked at it, and I was like, oh my God, that looks awful. I think I was taking a picture of something else, and just last week we put all new red bollard covers at that site, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
all those old painted, concrete kind of swelling out the top of them. You buy a bollard cover that's a little bit bigger, it can go over it. And it just looks professional, and it looks great. And it's a good feeling when you see that and you're like, okay, I took care of that. Move on to the next thing, and that's part goes way back to our first one about the SWAT. We get together once a quarter, and, we don't always think of everything, but that was something that from our visit that came up in a meeting. One partner said, you know what, I'll take care of that. He took care of it. It was not expensive.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than painting them, actually, when you think about it. And it just looks great. And it's going to last, that will last another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever.
Yeah.
So
along with that, I've gotten into the habit of pictures. I don't trust my eyes anymore when I'm going through a site. Every month when I visit a site, I just snap a couple pictures. And then
go back to it later.
Yeah. And then I do what I need to do for that day. And then I come back to those pictures and just relook at them and like give an honest assessment of, man, that does not look that great.
Yeah.
Right. Or this definitely needs attention, whatever that looks like, and then you can create a list on, what do I need to do next? Right. Equipment room doors. Right? If they're rusted at the bottom, or the paint's chipped, or they look weathered and disgusting, I mean, you can go to Home Depot and get a gallon of paint for what's a gallon of paint anymore? $30?
I have no idea.
$30 or something like that, but that's just one of those things that we take for granted because we see that door so much.
And if your steel commercial door is rusted up 4 inches on the bottom, it's time to pay somebody to come out and, put a new door frame in and get a new door and then paint it.
Well, and that'll drag us right into the next thing of, the back to the 3 C's, the capacity, the capability, and the cost, right? So if you need a new metal door, it is probably a better idea to pay a contractor to come out and put a metal door in for you, because they'll have it done in a short period of time. You can focus on the Kleen-Rite standard and drive your revenue up while you're paying somebody to put this door in, right? Yeah. So there needs to be that time and place where you say to yourself again, hey, I should probably outsource this so that I can stay focused on the small things that really matter to my customers, right? Whether it's cutting grass, planting bushes, if you want to do potted plants, hanging around, if you're taking it that far, and if you have a green thumb and you love that stuff, do it. If you want your site to look that way, maybe you pay somebody to come in and take care of it for you.
Yeah. So, times have changed, and, back in the 80s, early 90s, guys were literally building car washes out of brown brick because it didn't show the dirt as much. So what they do then is let the dirt build up on these brown walls, and they probably don't look that much different. And even when you power wash them, they're still brown. Yep. And then you're putting, new signs over them, and the lights don't reflect properly. And times have changed. People want bright white walls. We over talk about bright white walls and ceilings, but I don't want to beat a dead horse there. But it's just there has been a mind shift, and brown is out. Right.
Yeah.
And white is definitely in, or, agreeable gray anyway.
You love agreeable gray. Yeah. But I mean, again, it makes a mental shift in people's heads when they pull into a bay. The walls are stark white. They look clean. It makes them want to be in there. When you pull into a dim lighted bay, with brown brick. It feels dirty. It makes you feel dirty. It makes everything in the bay feel dirty
and dark. Yeah.
And why would you want to be there?
Yeah. And putting new lights in a brown bay just seems like, once again, this 3 C's, you're spending good money over top of a problem that you should maybe take care of and get the walls brightened up and do the lights to get the, because brown walls absorb light. But
if it's I agree with you, but if it's part of your hit list, right? I'm going to devil advocate you here for a second. If it's part of your hit list and if you have to do lights and walls, if your lights are dim and you can brighten them up to start,
do that first.
Then you can get those white walls in there. We're making progress in the right direction.
If we could just get that guy to power wash those walls or acid clean them or whatever, get them clean first, and then do the lights, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Just let's do it one step at a time.
Agreed.
Yep.
So what else do you think, as we're diving into just the standard Kleen-Rite thought process? We're talking about lot sweepers. We're talking about trash can lids. We're talking about wiping down stainless steel, white walls like always, bright lights, painting doors.
Any exposed metal. We go around and every car wash is a little different. You go to South Texas, the whole car wash is metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty inexpensive to have a whole car wash spray painted, versus replacing all the metal. I know where we are in this climate, we have a lot of block buildings with steel lintels and steel headers. We go through every 2 or 3 years and we paint all of our door frames. And where we use AZAC, to frame things out, we have to repaint that. We just repainted, our entry signs where we used PVC fence post, outside of a sign. The sign looked pretty good, but the paint had fallen off the fence post. So repainting that. It's really just looking at your site, and sometimes paint, like you said, $30 a gallon. You can paint a lot of stuff with a commercial outdoor acrylic or an epoxy, and look at those door frames. Look at any metal you have, whether it's the stainless steel boom hanging off the old rusted angle.
Yeah,
paint it.
Yeah.
Paint the angle and get it refreshed or replace it with something.
Yeah.
The simple things that are going to catch people's eye to say, would I have that in my house? Like, would I want to walk into my house and see a brand new chandelier hanging from a water stained ceiling?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's absolutely the same thing. And I think that's where, like, for me, again, those pictures come into play, because you can sit and revisit that. And then you can start to create yourself that hit list of all those items that you want to take care of, right? And then if you create that list, then you can't forget, and then it always gets taken care of. The other thing to think about as you're taking those pictures and you're assessing that site, all those small things, is, like you're saying, roofs, things like that.
Gutters.
These are things that you can plan for, right?
You can't do it all at once.
You can't do it all at once, but it's something that you can plan for. So if you keep tabs on it, if you keep eyes on it, and you're constantly tracking the degradation of those things, you can stay in front of it and you can keep your site looking brand new all the time.
Yeah, I mean, broken parking blocks. Parking blocks are pretty inexpensive. I had a couple sites where we realized after you needed them to get approval.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple sites where, like, actually it looks better. We don't even need them, because there's a hedge behind them. We just took them out. It looked a lot cleaner, a lot better. If somebody wants to run into my well-groomed hedge, that's fine. I'll fix the hedge.
Yeah.
The other one, we just went through and lot striped everything. We actually, against the grain of what I said, sub it out. We actually we bought a lot striper, and we have one of our attendants who likes to do that.
Yeah.
So he goes around and refreshes all the parking lines, the lineup lines, the stack lanes, the arrows, the in and out. And it just looks, if you can't seal coat, you don't have the money to seal coat right now. Seal coating is certainly something that we should all be looking at. Graffiti. If somebody, God forbid, graffiti something, paint over it,
you just got to take care of it.
You just got to take care of it. And if they ran into your vacuum island, which that's happened to all of us, fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fix it. And the was it Newton's law? If you fix a vac island, yes, somebody probably will run right back into it. But
guaranteed.
But that is part of this business.
Yep.
Because you got to fix what's broken.
It is. And when things like that happen and you take care of them, that graffiti happens on the side of your wall, and everybody that's coming into the site sees you up there painting over that graffiti, it lets them know that you care about them, your site, their experience, and that they know that you are there to take care of them, right? Your interactions with your customers are not always verbal. They're not always from me to you. Sometimes it's them seeing what you're putting into the place to make their experience better. And I think that a lot of people miss the mark on that.
Yeah. And I visit a lot of car washes, and a lot of times I'll literally walk onto a car wash where the whole thing is graffiti. And they're like, well, I can't keep up with the graffiti. And my comment is, well, it looks like you stopped keeping up with graffiti about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that, that's the brutal honesty of it is sometimes car washes, we don't like it. They will get graffitied. But if you take care of it when it happens, you can stay ahead of it.
Yep. I think that has been a lot of small information packed into one episode to try to help people retrain their brain for the Kleen-Rite standard, right? Yeah. Cleanliness, refreshing, and we're not talking about completely gutting your site. We're just talking about repainting that equipment room door.
Yeah.
Cleaning the stainless on your trash can lids, cleaning the stainless on your coin boxes, changing out that bay gear, quarterly, or if it's bad, if it's a misshapen brush head, taking care of that.
Yeah. And if you don't believe us, right? If you think what we're saying is not true, we're seeing this rebirth of self-serve washes. Mm-hmm. And I just talked to a guy in Florida yesterday who's taken an old graffitied wash, and it was quarters only. He's going to do everything we just said. He's going to image it, logo it, and if somebody who's never been in the business is willing to make that more than that daily investment, mm-hmm. the business is there for you to keep up with it on that daily investment and to get up to what the new entries in the industry will do. Yeah. They're willing to do it. Mm-hmm. And the returns are there.
Absolutely.
For these daily investments all day long, you have to get your mind around how do I do this?
Yeah. You have to create a plan, and you have to be consistent, and you have to dedicate yourself to doing that. And it's not an overnight thing. You're not going to paint a door and then all of a sudden you're going to make twice the amount of money, right? You have to build that consistency. Your customers need to see that.
It's an overarching theme that you have to get to the end of the road on.
Yep, for sure. I think that's...
Wow.
Yeah.
We hit it hard.
Pretty good. I mean, and, for everybody out there, I know that you guys might be thinking, well, I know all these things. The question is, do you do them?
Right.
Right?
Right.
So
we have data that says only 20 to 30 or 40% of the operators in the United States do this.
Yep.
The rest of them don't. Mm-hmm. They are starting to listen. They're starting to do it. But if you're one of those folks who's waiting to see, you might be waiting too long.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for this episode of the Kleen-Rite Radio podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and just ask that you comment, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying what Mark and I are doing. And we're also going to do a new thing. If you want to share your success stories at your wash, the things that you've done that have brought you success, and you have pictures, please send that in to the podcast email address. We would love to share them with the listeners out there. to get this word out so that everybody knows that we're not just sitting up here
making this stuff up,
selling snake oil.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. We know that it works, and we know that there are people out there doing it. So we would love to share your success.
And I want to thank our sponsor, Solve Industrial, great vendor partner of ours. They sell bearings and all kinds of stuff. So look them up if you have a chance. And that's pretty much it for today, Phil.
All right, Mark, and everybody out there, thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks.